Welcome back to A Faster Me. This is day 3 of Valley of the Sun stage race. This is I think it's a 7-corner Criterium, and this is the third time we've been out to Valley of the Sun. And I knew it was going to be fast, and we wanted it to be fast, wanted it to try to get in a breakaway. So there is, I think, 5 people total that we have racing in the team. We have a couple guest riders, Molly in category 5, and then Jesse is part of our team. Then we have Holly guest riding for us, and Audrey. So there's 5 of us racing all together. This is a mixed field. There is 2 different master categories. There's the category 4 women and category 5 women. So I think in total there's about maybe 30 plus racers.
Yeah, this was a very fast race too. I think it was faster than the other years, which was great and made it interesting. But one thing is, one thing we always kind of joke about. I think I may have said it last videos. We always joke about like the other riders are on scholarship, also. Just kind of like relaying it to back when I coached college football. It's like everybody's training, everybody's talented, stuff like that. So we had a certain game plan, and it basically went out the window just because the race was so fast. The race was so fast we weren't able to pull off like any of our tactics moving into the race.
I think we averaged 24. 24.3. And I know that this was the first crit race for a number of racers. So I think there's quite a few triathletes that come to Valley of the Sun, and talking to just a number of people before the race, this was their first crit. And I think a lot of the riders had the same idea that I don't want to be riding next to a whole lot of people. I want to make it fast. So there was some, blazing fast TT times. So a lot of strong riders, and the straightaways are really long. So it gives a lot of riders who maybe are a little bit less comfortable cornering and riding in a group, it gives them a chance to use their power and go to the front on the straightaways. And then it is, it has a little bit of variety with some of the different corners, left and right hand turns. And I was suffering from the beginning. It was just fast.
Yeah, little bit of a dive bomb there. But you can definitely tell that a lot of people are not used to crits here. I mean, obviously it's the kind of like beginner field as well, but you can just tell by that first lap of how spread out everyone was and how they're taking different lines. That's Holly right there in front of us. She did a great job guest riding for us this weekend, had a lot of fun. And yeah, you can just tell like the race was really fast, and a lot of people are new and uncomfortable a little bit.
And I was a little bit less comfortable, behind some of the riders. And I also was still having in my mind of trying to execute some of our team tactics. So I was constantly kind of trying to get towards the front, and I just found myself shuffled back like every time I moved up.
Yeah, and it's not a normal. I mean, it's a normal crit, but like for us in California, we have really fast crits, but they're usually kind of cookie cutter 4-corner. I wouldn't say this crit is technical, but it definitely has a couple different angles that it throws at you. And if you're not used to taking these corners at speed, it can throw you off a little bit.
The wind also plays a factor. I think we were into a pretty nice headwind on the front straight, so the positioning matters a lot. So I think the faster line was on the outside or the left side of the front straightaway, and so trying to kind of get in position there in the previous corners, it's challenging sometimes.
Yeah, basically what you're saying is right here on this front straight, you want to be over to the left because the wind was coming off the right a little bit. We may get a chance to see some flags over on the left side. They may be too far away from the street. But yeah, if you're tucked in on the left side here, you get a little bit of a shielding from the wind. Yeah, I think the flags are too far off the road to see. They're way in the background to the left there. You can just see them above the trees. But yeah, definitely if you're on the left side coming up the front straight, you'll get a little bit of protection. And then a tailwind on the back straight. It's a good job taking a corner there, making up a little bit of speed just by carrying, I mean, a little bit of distance just by carrying momentum there. But you are a little detached here. It looks like you're about to get dropped.
It could have easily happened. It was just there wasn't really any respite. And another thing, it's so dry. So I think I was needing a drink of water so soon. I could I was struggling with how dry it was.
Yeah, but you are definitely making up some ground in the turns, and you can kind of clearly tell that you're a little more comfortable cornering than some of the other riders because they're going pretty slow in the corners, and you're making up a lot of ground carrying momentum here. Here's a perfect example how you're getting closer through every turn, basically.
My only saving grace.
Yeah, so Jessie, this is only like her second crit ever. She hasn't even made an appearance on the screen yet because she was really struggling, like just to kind of keep up with the surges. She's a really strong climber, but yeah, you're gonna see like just how fast it is. She's gonna get to the front and kind of try to help Molly a little bit at the front, and that effort was so hard for her that she was basically done after that. She kind of went to the front for a little bit, did a big pull trying to chase another rider with Molly on her wheel, and then Jessie was going backwards after that. And it's just something to get used to of just crits in general, the surging, the cornering, being riding next to people, stuff like that. So I definitely can't wait till we get her out on like a big climbing race.
That's Allison to my right there. I raced with her day 2. We were kind of chasing the main group also. Great to race with her again. We talked to her last year. And here I'm doing did a lot of effort. I was planning to try to attack because it had slowed down just a little, but I did all my effort just to get up to the front of the field, and it was too fast to have anything to attack. So I was a little bit delusional there, but here I'm in good position.
Yeah, that was Molly on the front, kind of just, setting the pace up there, stringing it out really well. Molly's on the orange bike up there, and she guest rode for us this weekend. She did a great job, too. I think she basically won every race. This one she didn't win outright, but she still won the Cat 5 category. And I think the time trial and the road race she won outright. So, great job. She's not new to riding, she's super strong, but in road racing you got to start off as a Cat 5, so I'm pretty sure she'll be moving up through the ranks pretty soon.
Yeah, we couldn't really see it on the video, but I think the second lap she was bumped a little in the first corner and had a little speed wobble, and so she just said I was gonna be out in the front trying to she said she did a lot of work the whole race. But she's super strong and able to do that work because I was doing a lot of work just trying to catch back to wheels and trying to move up in position.
Yeah, you can tell by just your watts that this is a pretty heavy effort as well. That's another one of the strong riders there. I think she's was leading the Cat 4 category. I can't remember her name, but very strong rider, and I think she has a triathlete background as well.
The Cat 4 rider does too. I'm not sure if that was a Masters leader there or not, but I mean, all the people in the leaders jersey are there for a reason, so there's some strong riders.
Yeah, especially if you're holding the leader's jersey by day 3. I know the time trial has a big part to do with that, but still, if you're in the leader's jersey on day 3, you're definitely a strong rider. As are the rest of the girls out here. Like, everybody's pretty strong. Like I said, the other girls are on scholarship too. So race finally settled down and you're kind of back with the pack now. Yeah, I think we should be seeing an appearance from Jesse shortly. But yeah, this kind of always happens. You get a few laps of pretty much every crit or every race almost starts off the same way. A lot of adrenaline at the beginning. You get a really hot start, and then it kind of settles down in the middle of the race, and then picks up again at the end.
I never felt super comfortable in the race. It was fast. It was hard to know, do I want to be on the inside or the outside? So many different riders, and I just mentally also, after a couple days of racing, and typically we were out from kind of morning to the afternoon for all the races, so it's a tiring weekend for sure. And I think after I kind of accepted, like, hey, we're not executing some of our team tactics, I was just kind of content to try to hang in, and didn't have as much purpose maybe as I should have.
Yeah, and like you said, it is definitely a long day for us too. Just running our own team and all that kind of stuff. We don't get to rest all day until it's race time. So we're basically at every race each day. We're there from the beginning of the day to the end of the day, because we had 9 people racing. So we had some Cat 4 and 5 women, Cat 4 men, and then P1, 2, 3 women. So we were basically there, like I said, each day we were there all day, the entire day, from the start of the races to the end of them. And that does take a toll on you, even though you're kind of just sitting around in the sun, helping other people, getting the tents and stuff ready. It's just very taxing.
And there was one rider saying something to, I think that's her teammate, of, hey, get on here, jump on, and they were communicating.
Yeah, I think definitely just trying to move up to the front a little bit. It's hard back here. You got the accordion effect, and it's a lot more surgy back here than it is up front. You can ride a little smoother. Definitely a better draft up front as well if you can get tucked in up there.
Oh gosh, you see so many different turn angles, some adjustments in the corner. It was not a real comforting feeling, but I struggled to stay up in the front the few times I got into good position. I don't, some of it I'm sure is my efficiency and not being as efficient, and then some is just, it was a fast race. And typically, or what's happened historically, is there's maybe a breakaway when things are this speed, but the majority of the group stayed together. I think there were some people dropped off, but this was the largest finishing group that I've seen, especially at this level.
Yeah, I think it was definitely a fast race and a lot of fast riders in here. Like I said, it says it's the 4-5 race, but I'm sure a lot of these women can, as far as physical fitness, they can hang in some of the higher races. For sure, the Cat 3 race, I'm sure they can hang in that race as well. Yeah, definitely kind of settled down again. You guys aren't over 30 miles per hour on this backstretch. On all the other laps, you've been going a lot higher. I think there's Jessie just moved up on the left side now. She kind of went up to the front. And I know I can't remember the other rider. I want to say rider kind of got off the front, and I know Jessie kind of helped chase with Molly on her wheel. So I think that's probably this lap here, because I'm pretty sure it was on the front straight.
Definitely can't tell from back here.
Yeah, I can see her on the left side up there. And maybe that's the rider that takes off. And then Jessie tries to chase her with Molly on her wheel, trying to help Molly get back up to that rider. Yeah, I can see them on the left side up there. You can see Molly's orange bike, and Jessie's kind of chasing the rider. But yeah, that effort here kind of kills Jessie, because right after this effort, then there's another surge that goes off, and then there goes Jessie out the back, and that's just how fast it was. Jessie's a really strong rider. She's not really a crit racer yet, but she's really strong, and it was kind of surprising that the pace kind of cracked her a little bit there, and that's just how fast the race was.
They also had a number of preems, I think in most of the races, but I don't know how many they had in our race, but I think the women's pro race had maybe 13 or 15 preems, so it was almost every lap. And in our race, there was a $50 one, a $100 one, 25. So a lot of incentive to continue to go fast.
Yeah, I think I remember, for sure I remember the 50 and the $100 preem for you guys, because that's pretty good for the Cat 4-5 field to have, a $100 preem. It's a pretty good bonus there.
And they had one that was just for the Masters, and I think a different racer had sprinted for that and then was disappointed that it was only a Masters preem.
Yeah, something was weird there. I saw a rider coming out of the side street. So I don't know if that person was actually in your race or not, but they kind of came out of the side street there. And that's...
I think this is where Holly and I are going to yell to Jessie to try to get her to hop on. So nice to have a wheel you're comfortable following. Holly says something to her, then I do, and here she is.
Yeah, that's Jessie finishing that effort, and you can see like how fast it is. It's 28 miles per hour, and she just did that effort to try to chase the other rider down. And I think the peloton just passed her before she got her speed up, and she wasn't able to jump back on the tail end of this. So a gap opens, and as you guys know, once that gap opens and you're off the back of a peloton, like, it's very hard to catch back up. You definitely need the assistance of the draft to kind of stay in it. And I think, Jessie being new to it, she just wasn't able to get her speed up right there.
And I did not have any idea that she didn't get back on. I just assumed she was kind of back in the group. But you just don't know what's happening behind you, as you shouldn't be looking back.
Yeah, you guys, I think, are down to about 6 laps to go now. And yeah, it's been pretty much flat out the whole time. It's been stretched out, only bunched up maybe twice. So yeah, definitely a fast race. And I know sometimes, like in our local crits, our P1, 2, 3 races are pretty fast, and sometimes they're barely, mid 24 miles per hour. So it's definitely a fast course. And I think the women's pro race was just about 26 miles per hour. So yeah, definitely a fast course.
I overheard, I think, a Masters rider talking about this is the first time she's ever stayed in the peloton, and I think that would speak to her fitness and a lot of the women's fitness to have the main group really stay together till the end with this fast of a pace. Like I said, there's been breakaways every other year that I've done it with a handful of riders that just get off the front, and the course is set up, I think, to be a breakaway course just with the varying speeds and some of the corners, but not this year.
Yeah, I think Holly said the same thing too, that she was just kind of struggling to maintain, and just, yeah, the whole team tactics went out the window. It was just kind of hold a wheel and do what you can. Which really the job was kind of trying to help Molly get in a breakaway anyway. So she's still at the front and doing great up there. So it's not a breakaway, but at least she's able to run with the first like five riders or so.
Yeah, this is a tough first crit too, with just the varying, turns and.
Yeah, because this is only Molly's second race for the road. I think she's done some gravel racing, but for road racing, this is her second race. She won the Santa Barbara road race a couple weeks ago, and then the races these days, the time trial, the road race, and then today's crit. And that's Molly right there in the leader jersey to the right with the orange canyon.
So I'm feeling like this is a pretty good position, trying to, hold the wheel, but I just let a little gap open up, and this happens real quick that you're not in great position. I'm still trying to kind of move up and stick with her. Maybe, 5 laps to go.
Yeah, I think
4.
you were in good position there for a second, but I think when Molly accelerated, you just kind of hesitated for a second, and then there's some separation there, and there's riders in between. Yeah, and this little section here might be the most technical, even though it's not a technical course, but this kind of acts as a little chicane here. It's not a true chicane, but just a quick left and a right. But those little curb right there, that little island, kind of makes it tough sometimes, just because it looks like you can run wide, but it kind of straightens up kind of fast there. And it definitely leads straight into this drag strip, which this one was a tailwind, so the speeds are like always high on this little back straight here. Yeah, and again, I know we've said it already, but it is a pretty good job to be this late in the race and have this many girls still riding with the front pack. And of course, most of the circuit is usually pretty smooth. Most of the asphalt is pretty good. I think there's only a couple bumps, mainly on that backstretch, like there's a side street or whatever that you go across. So there's a big dip there, and then coming out of turn 4, there's a pretty good dip at the apex there. And other than that, it's really smooth, like fast circuit.
And I think this is a preem lap, so they were given preems into the last couple laps, but you see what a hard effort that was, and it's just stretched out.
Did you guys have a crash in this race?
No.
Just some bumping, but no one actually went down?
Yeah, no crashes to my knowledge, which I think is quite an accomplishment.
Yeah, especially with the pace and so many riders still running up front. Yeah, you can tell, I know we spoke about it already, but you can just tell like how new everyone is by just the line choices people are taking. There's not real, the cornering is not real intentional here. It's just kind of like just floating through the turns. And that's one of the hardest things to learn. Like you really have to concentrate and understand like how to take a turn. You have to understand apexes, what approach you should be taking into the turn. One steering input per turn, not a bunch of micro adjustments.
And I would say that my cornering was pretty terrible for the most part in the race, just trying to kind of figure out all the different lines and where I wanted to be. So I was sometimes braking behind people and definitely not so efficient or good with my corners when I was with the group. Of course, it's a lot easier to when you're by yourself. So the few times I was trying to make up spots, it was okay, but
yeah, you're back up to the front now, and as soon as you get there, there's another acceleration off the front. So you just made up some spots to get, up to like the top 5, and then right away there was an acceleration, got you back to about 8th position now.
well, I definitely worked hard for the race. Maybe not as smart as I could have with the lack of efficiency, but I think I averaged more normalized power. I think I averaged like 228 in the race and maybe 225, but my time trial was, I think time trial was 225 and here was 228, something like that. It was more power than my TT, which is not something to be super proud of.
Yeah,
Ooh,
yeah, definitely wasn't efficient.
someone diving under there.
Yeah, doing more power in this race than your TT. That, yeah, either your TT could have been better, or you definitely were not efficient in this race. You know, you normally you're going to have your normalized power is going to be higher than your average power, because you know your average power counts when you're not pedaling and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, in most crits, you can tell how efficient you are by what your average power is compared to your normalized power. And if they're the same, which yours were just 3 watts off, yeah, you definitely were working hard in this race.
No, 3 watts for my TT. So 225 in my TT, 228 here. And I think my average power might have been 197.
Okay.
So maybe 20 some watts different, but still not so efficient and definitely too much work.
Yeah, as a comparison, I race typically the Masters 50 plus. Our crits are usually 26, 27 miles per hour. And I would do like maybe 250 watts normalized, and I still only average like 210 watts average. And that's like, being a larger rider and stuff too, that's kind of efficient.
Bless you.
Excuse me. All right, we're down to a couple laps to go. I want to say after this lap, there's going to be 2 to go. So definitely you can see everyone's body language is a little different. I will say this too, though, being a 4-5 race, you know, I see some people that are actually some pretty good riding positions as far as like their aerodynamics. You know, often in the 4-5 races, people are pretty much sitting straight up. And I see a number of women in their drops, and even the ones that are on their hoods, they, you know, have their back a little flatter. And it shows. That's one of the reasons why this race is so fast. There's some experience out there. Maybe not true crit racing experience, but definitely experience at going fast.
Well, and I would guess or theorize that people with a triathlon background are used to riding in a more aero position with
for
the
sure.
time trials, so
For
they're
sure.
used to kind of being in that position, which is something I still struggle with to be aero. Even when I'm in my drops, I'm way too upright. But I'm guessing the time trialists are used to being aero and probably good with that position, probably have very strong
Cores.
abs.
Yeah, the core is strong. Yeah, because it does take a little bit of core strength to hold the position for a long time. And like you said, you see a lot of like normal crit racers that are just starting off. They're usually sitting straight up. So yeah, for sure, being experience in time trials definitely will benefit you in being lower and being aero. Yeah, so I think there's 1 lap to go after this. This could be the last lap, but I think there's 1 more to go.
I was ready to be done and get ready for the the women's pro race.
You might be done. I think this might be the last lap actually, because there's less than a minute left in the video, basically. So this is the last lap. Yeah, you guys are going pretty fast. I have seen you going faster. There's Holly shooting up there. It's a good job by Holly making up some spots. I think you're fading a little bit here.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely needed to just stay tucked in a little bit there, because you're going to get a decent sprint. It's not really high watts for you, but it is a decent sprint. It's your most watts on the day, and you are definitely passing a bunch of people. So if you had been a little bit tighter with the group still, instead of losing those positions that last 2 corners, you definitely would have had a lot better finish. But I think, what did you get, 9th on the day, 11th on the day?
11th in the category 4. Yeah.
All right, well, that's a wrap for Valley of the Sun. Thanks for watching.